Dr. Nordhoff is here. You don't want to wait till 10 o'clock to start, do you? Ms. Pearson is here. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. She's just sitting up there looking innocent.
That was my passive-aggressive reminder that you skipped me on the agenda.
I like that, Jessica. I like that.
But this is the first time we've had the pleasure of hearing Ms. Pearson talk as a person now handling our legislative activities. And so, Ms. Pearson, why don't you tell us what we need to know?
Sure. Good morning, members of the council. As you know, I now have two jobs. I was, rewarded for my good work on the Delta Plan. So now I'll also be your face of legislation, trying to keep you updated on what we're doing and trying to nudge you when it might be appropriate for us to get more involved. As you know, the legislature is actually currently out of session, so there hasn't been a lot of activity since the end of August. They did convene briefly on December 3rd to swear in new members, and a number of bills were introduced, mostly spot bills or placeholder bills, which will get more detail later on, probably in the spring. So the new two-year session is going to launch on January 7th after the holiday break, and two of the issues at the top of the agenda this year are expected to be obviously budget. We're still looking at a potential $800 million shortfall based on the projections from the 2012-2013 budget as reported by the controller just last week. And then as well, leaders from both houses as well as the governor have talked about an interest in CEQA reform, California's landmark Environmental Quality Act. So that's expected to draw a certain amount of attention from both houses. As you know, there are quite a number of new faces in the legislature this year, a turnover of 25%, and some turnover in party representation as well, thanks to the new open primary feature that voters voted on in 2010. You've also probably heard by now that the Democrats hold a supermajority in both houses, and while it's unclear what that means, they could potentially overturn a governor's veto, raise taxes. So there's a lot of discussion about that phenomenon. So in the interim period between sessions, I, as well as some of you on the council and Chris Knopp, have been meeting with a few members just on a range of topics, providing updates. I expect that probably come spring or even late winter, we're going to be out and about quite a bit, educating new members on our issues and talking at the request of members. So we do expect a fair amount of interest in the Delta by the legislature next year, as should be expected. Like last session, we'll probably see a few bills related to our covered actions process, perhaps folks seeking clarification or exemptions from that process. So I'll keep you apprised as those details unfold. On the topic of the water bond, there are already 3 spot bills that have been introduced related to the 2010, 2012, 2014 water bond. You might remember that bond, which was a larger part of the package of bills that included the Delta Reform Act and the creation of the council, included $2.25 billion for Delta sustainability, which included restoration projects, some levee projects, as well as funding for other projects of interest to the council, such as storage, regional water planning, etc. So unless there are any questions, that's it for now. There'll be probably more to update you on in January.
Mr. Johnston.